What happens with the food we eat? The cells in the intestines are called enterocytes, and these cells are going to line the inner surface of the small and large intestine. These cells are going to have microvilli in the apical surface to increase the area of absorption, and this will allow to transport of proteins, fats, and sugar, as well as water inside the enterocyte. So right here you have an enterocyte, and this is going to be the villi. And then the food, in this case, proteins and lipids and carbohydrates, are going to be absorbed, and they will go inside the enterocyte. The constituent parts of these proteins and fats and carbohydrates, in other words, the building blocks of these proteins and fats, are going to be transported from the enterocyte into the bloodstream, if they are sugars and amino acids, or into the lymphatic system if they are fats. From there, into the different tissues that we're going to have in the body. So in other words, the nutrients, including water, will go from the enterocyte into this space, the white space right there. From there, it will go inside the blood. From the blood, it will go inside this blue area. And from the blue area, it will go inside the cell in this yellowish area. Therefore, solids such as proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, electrolytes will vary in different parts of the human body. Water also moves through semi-permeable membranes of cells and from one compartment of the body to another by a process called osmosis. Water will move, for example, from the enterocyte into this white area, from the white area into the blood, from the blood into the blue area right here, and from the blue area inside the cell. So there are different areas where you're going to find these solids such as proteins and lipids, and fluids such as, for example, water. So then what are these areas? So these areas, or these compartments, right, are going to be this blue area or blue compartment, this red area or red compartment. Therefore, proteins, electrolytes, water will move from one compartment into the other compartment. Then this is going to give us the concept of fluid compartments. Body fluids are found in different fluid compartments because these compartments are separated by some form of physical barrier. Therefore, we are going to have different fluid compartments. The intracellular fluid compartment includes all fluid enclosed in cells by their plasma membrane. Extracellular fluid surrounds all cells in the body. The extracellular fluid has two primary constituents: the fluid component of the blood, also called plasma, and the interstitial fluid that surrounds all cells not in the blood and lymphatic system. For example, the intracellular fluid will be all this yellow area, and the extracellular fluid will be the plasma, which is the fluid in the blood, plus the interstitial fluid, which is the fluid in blue that we have right here, which is going to be in between the cells. And as we mentioned before, proteins, glucose, electrolytes, water will move from one compartment into another compartment. So therefore, we said that the amount of solids as well as water that we're going to have in these compartments is going to be different. So then what is the composition of these compartments, of these fluids that we have there? Plasma and interstitial fluid, which are going to form the extracellular fluid, have high concentrations of sodium, chloride, bicarbonate. In contrast, the intracellular fluid has elevated concentrations of potassium, phosphate, magnesium, and proteins. And we can see right here in this table. The intracellular fluid, main components are going to be potassium, you can see with the brown column, and phosphate. And in red, plasma, it's going to be sodium and chloride. So to summarize, the intracellular fluid contains high concentrations of potassium and phosphate, and the extracellular fluid contains high concentrations of sodium and chloride, as you can see by the red bar. So if we look at the table again, we can see that sodium, potassium, chloride, they're going to be found in the form of electrolytes in our body. And electrolytes are physiologically important for multiple reasons. They are chemically reactive and participate in metabolism. They determine the electrical potential across the cell membranes, and they also affect the osmolarity of the body fluids and the body's water content and distribution. The major anions are chloride, bicarbonate, and phosphates. The major cations of the body fluids are sodium, potassium, magnesium, and hydrogen. Hydrogen is very important because the pH of a solution is determined by its hydrogen ions. In the case of blood and interstitial fluid, the pH has a range from 7.35 to 7.45. So here's the blood, and in the blood we have water, and that water is going to be part of plasma. So therefore, the pH of blood is 7.35 to 7.45. The same applies to the blue areas right here in between the cells. That is going to be the interstitial fluid. And interstitial fluid is going to have the same pH.